Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to fill out a character sheet. And I'm going to do it the only way I really know how, which is by filling out a character sheet, as I go. Luckily, I've got a campaign coming up and I still need to make a couple more NPCs. So I'm going to fill out a couple more character sheets for them. So we're going to go ahead and just jump on into it. So the first thing you want to do when creating a character is make sure you've got all the materials on hand. So you're going to need a notebook, a pencil. You don't want to do any of this in pen because you're going to make mistakes. And even if you don't, when you level up, you're going to have to edit your character sheet. So pencil's always the way to go. With the way I have my players roll their characters, you're going to need 4d6, character sheet, and the player's handbook. And, of course, something to drink, because this could take a while and you'll get thirsty. So the first thing you need to do when making any character is pick the class. Now, because of the random assortments of classes and races my players are going with, I think that what would fit this NPC the best is a bard. So we're going to make a bard here. Next, you want to pick the race. Once again, there's an odd assortment of races, but I think one that will really fit well with the RP aspects of the races my players have picked is the Tiefling. So we're going to go with the Tiefling. If you want to follow along, the Tiefling is on page 42 and 43. So next, we need to know what numbers we have to plug into our ability score slots. So the way we're going to do that, or at least the way I have my players do it, and I think this is the best way, is you're going to take your 4d6, you're going to roll them. Now I realize my red one is kind of hard to read, and I'm sorry for that. It was the only other numbered one I have. I hate the dots. But from here, we're going to take the lowest number. So I've got a 6, got a 6, I've got a 5, I've got a 2, and I've got a 1. So I'm going to take the 1 away, and then we're going to add these three together. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 2 is going to be 13. So we've got 13. So that's 1. And we need a total of 6. So let's do this 5 more times real fast. Boom, boom, boom. Bunch of 3s and a 5. So we got 5, 3, 3. So it's going to be 5, 8, and then 11. Boom, boom. Move the 1. This is going to be a really bad bard probably, but that's okay because it's an NPC. It's going to be a total of 6. Move the 2, we got a 5, we got a 5, we got a 4, so that's 14. Move the 1, we got a 6, a 4, and a 3 for 13. This is actually looking at a lot more balanced than I thought it would. We have 5, so we need 1 more. We'll remove that 2, we got a 6, a 5 for 11, plus 4 for a total of 15. And just like that, we have our ability scores to plug in. Now we need to plug them in. But before we do that, we need to look at the Tiefling traits. So as a Tiefling, you get, where did it go? Tieflings get a charisma bonus, and I'm forgetting how much it is because I'm not the best. Alright, so the ability score improvement, or ability score increase right here. Intelligence is increased by 1, charisma by 2. So, since we're making a bard, we want our charisma to be our highest stat. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this based on our numbers. Obviously, you can put the 15 there in charisma, and then plus 2 will make it 17, but that still only makes it a plus 3. So what I would actually recommend doing is taking this 14, plugging it into the charisma, and then because it's a Tiefling, you get that plus 2, makes it 16, which would make it a plus 3 modifier, right? And then from there, it really all depends on what you want to do. You can go to the Bard page if you'd like, and see what the quick build says to go with, which is going to be charisma and then dexterity, which would mean you'd want to put that 15 into dexterity. I prefer a little bit of a meteor bard, so I'm going to take that 15 and I'm going to plug it right into the constitution. But once again, the quick build does say dexterity. That's going to be a +2. Now, for the rest of these, it doesn't really matter. Well, it does and it doesn't. If you want to use ranged attacks, then your next biggest number you're going to put into dexterity. But what I do is I look at the skills, and I see what skills I might want to use, which skills checks I'm more likely to use. So, I'm looking at this, and let's see here. I'm probably not going to use anything that's strength related, but I might need to do a history or investigation. So, my next point's going to go into intelligence. From there, I'll put one of the 13s. But remember, tieflings get +1, so that's going to make it 14 for +2. And then, obviously, I do want some dexterity. So it's going to be 13 for +1. And then bard doesn't need strength. I'm not going to do any strength checks, so it's going to be 6, which is a -2. And then there's only one left. And that's going to be the 11, which is going to go into wisdom for a big fat 0 on that modifier. It's probably not the best bard I've ever made, but it's decently balanced with the exception of that strength, but we don't need strength. It's fine. So, from here, there's all that's left on this page that we really need to know about is Hellish Resistance, which every DM will tell you to put it somewhere differently. I put it right here under Other Proficiencies and Languages. And then all that's left on this page that you really need for now is languages. You can speak, read, and write Common and Infernal. So we're going to go ahead and put Common and Infernal right here. Now, they do also have Infernal Legacy, which lets you know the Thaumaturgy cantrip. So we'll go over here to this. We'll go over here to this other page, the spells page, and under cantrips we'll write Thaumaturgy. Alright, and that's going to be it for the Tiefling page. We'll move on to the class page. So we're going to go to the Bard page, which I completely skipped over. There we go. Alright. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this. I like to go... Oh, we don't need this anymore. It's just in the way. Alright. I like to go in this order. So, your hit dice is 1d8 per bard level. So we'll put 1 for total. And then I put d8 right there. Alright. So, hit points at first level, 8 plus your constitution modifier. So it's going to be 8. And remember our constitution modifier, I put the 15 there, so it's going to be +2. 8 plus 2 is going to be 10. So we'll put 10 right there. Not the beefiest of bards, but not the wimpiest either. Now we're at that point where it's a good thing we have a drink. Alright, now a good thing to remember for later levels is when you level up, you can either roll a d8 and add your constitution modifier, or you can take a base 5 and add your constitution modifier. It's completely up to you. Some DMs will tell you that you have to do one or you have to do the other, and it's not up to you. I like to let the players have more control over their characters, so as far as I'm concerned, it's up to you. You want to roll that d8, take the chance of rolling a 1, that's on you. You want to play it safe? Go for it. It's 100% up to you. And after that, we go into proficiencies. So we're coming back down to this block right here. And bards are proficient in light armor, and then simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. And before anyone says it in the comments, yes, I know my handwriting is not the greatest, but that's okay because I can read it. And what's most important is that you or your DM can read it. Alright. Next we go on to equipment. Starting equipment. Let's see here. Here it gets a little tricky. Or it can. You start with the following equipment in addition to the equipment granted by your background. You get to make some decisions here. The first decision, do you want a rapier, a longsword, or any simple weapon? I'm kind of basic. I like rapiers. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with a rapier. And I'm going to write that right here. Rapiers are nice because, one, you start off proficient in it, so you get to add your proficiency bonus whenever you attack. And two, they're just neat. Next, you can go with the Diplomat's Pack or an Entertainer's Pack. This is going to be dependent on what kind of bard you want to make. This bard is going to be in the corner of a bar doing bardly things. So I'm going to go with the Entertainer's Pack, which usually comes with like instruments, props, makeups, costumes, stuff like that. So we'll go with an Entertainer's Pack. Next is a lute or any other musical instrument. I'm going to go with a violin because that's what I play in real life. So let's write violin. And then this one just straight up tells you what you get. You don't have to make a choice. It's made for you. You get leather armor and a dagger. Okay, now we go on to spell casting because what bard isn't complete without spells? So, right off the bat, we're going to go with cantrips. Now, it tells you right here that you know 2 cantrips of your choice from the bard spell list, and then expands on that a little bit, but what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to this sheet. Now, this sheet, I know you can't really see it very well, but this sheet says the first level proficiency bonus is 2. So while we're here, we'll go ahead and write that in as well. So proficiency bonus is +2. Alright. Cantrips known 2. Spells known 4. 2 first level spell slots. Okay. So from here, let's go ahead and grab something to... We'll take this sheet and we're going to put it right there to be a placeholder. And then we are going to the spells list, which starts on page 207. Bard spells, cantrips. We get 2 of these. Let's see here. Vicious Mockery is always a good way to go. It's fun. Everyone loves it. And it does psychic damage. So why not? Do I think this particular NPC is going to need to do any damage? No. But that's okay, because you never know what your players might do. And then from here, like I said, it's going to be an entertainer in a bar. So we'll go with minor illusion. I think that will really help entertaining people. Alright, now you get 4 first level spells. You're going to go here. And you have to remember, while you have 4 spells, you only have 2 first level spell slots, which means you can only cast 2 of them per long rest. So, let's see. What do we want? Obviously, I think for an entertainer, at the very least, Charm Person is a good way to go. Disguise Self. Illusory Script. And then we'll go ahead and round this out with Dissonant Whispers, because, like I said, you never know what your players are going to do. This bard might need to deal damage. Alright, so we've got the spells, we've got the cantrips. Let's go back to the bard page, see what we're missing. Okay. Now that that's done, let's see here. Skills. We completely skipped skills. My apologies. Choose any 3. Well, and that's really nice because most classes force you to pick 2 or 3 from a set group. Bard is just choose any 3 from any of the skill lists, any 3. Let's see here. It's an entertainer, so we definitely want performance. I circle in the bubbles. Some people put an X in them. Some people put a check mark in them. As long as the bubble has a marking on it, it's good. Let's see here. Persuasion is definitely a good thing to have. And then sleight of hand, because what performer doesn't attempt to steal from people from time to time? Now, with this skill list, what I normally do is I come in here and I write down every bonus. For the sake of time, I'm only going to do it for these 3. Performance is a charisma check. Charisma's +3. Since I'm choosing to be proficient in it, I get my proficiency bonus, which is +2 for a total of +5. So I'm going to write +5 right there. Persuasion is also charisma, so I'm going to do another +5. Sleight of hands, however, is dexterity. Dexterity is going to be +1 plus the 2 proficiency bonus. This is only going to be a +3. At level 1, +3 to sleight of hands is still good. Don't sleep on it. Alright. So we've got our skills. We've got our proficiencies. We've got our languages. We have our equipment. We've got our cantrips and our spells. Next, we need our backgrounds, which, bear with me for a second because I can never remember what page the backgrounds are on. Look at that. I got really lucky. 127 is where the backgrounds start. Now, there are a lot of backgrounds in the player's handbook, but the one that fits the most for what I want this bard to do is going to be, oh, I skipped it. It's going to be the entertainer. So let's see. Entertainers get a skill proficiency in acrobatics and performance. Acrobatics, dexterity, +3. Performance. Now, some DMs say, oh, you already picked performance, so I guess that's just a dead skill. I would tell you go ahead and pick another one. So we'll get back to that in a second. Tool proficiencies, disguise kit. And one type of any musical instrument. Once again, we're going to write violin. Now I get proficiency bonuses when I use my violin. Alright. Equipment, a musical instrument of your choice. I'm not going to write another instrument down because I would more than likely just sell it. The favor of an admirer, I go with a love letter. Because if it was a character, if it was a player character, I could always bring it back up and they'll have like a fanatic fan chasing them down. A costume, to be determined what it is later. And a pouch containing 15 gold pieces. Alright. And then from there, there's all these characteristics. You don't really need to do these. These are more for RP purposes. I prefer writing my own, so I'm not going to delve into this too much. But you can roll a d8 and write down whatever. For personality trait, you can roll a d8 and write down whatever it says here on the features and traits block. And then ideal, you'll roll a d6. And then for bond, a d6. And flaw, a d6. Once again, I prefer coming up with this stuff myself. But if you're having writer's block, please feel free to roll the dice. That's perfectly acceptable. And don't let anyone knock you for doing that. Now, like I said, the entertainer gets the performance skill proficiency. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick another one. Now let's see here. Sometimes bards tell riveting stories that are completely made up. So a deception check would be needed. So we're going to go with deception, which is charisma, which is going to be another +5. And there we go. Lo and behold, our character is, for the most part, done. For speed, this is a tiefling, so the speed's going to be 30. Armor class, our bard has leather armor, which I can never remember off the top of my head because, once again, I'm not perfect. Leather armor is 11 plus the dex modifier, which in this case is 1. So our armor class is going to be 12. Okay. Now, for attacks and spellcasting, I'm going to write rapier right here because that's the weapon my bard has. Attack bonus is going to be, well, let's see. Rapier is a finesse weapon, which finesse weapons can be used dexterity or strength. So we're going to write dex. Damage type, it's piercing. So we're going to write pierce. And then just for the sake of remembering, we're going to also write right here, we'll pull a slash there, 1d8. There we go. It's 1d8 piercing damage, and it's the attack bonus is going to be dexterity. But we're also proficient, so it'll also be the proficiency bonus, but that doesn't matter right now. So let's see here. And then we come up here, character class and level, bard, level 1. Character name, we don't have a character name right now. Background. so I make mistakes again. Player name, you'll write your name there. There's no experience points, so we can leave this blank. Race is a tiefling. Alignment, I find it really hard to justify putting alignment for a level 1 character because your character hasn't had time to grow. If you want to put an alignment down, if you know which way you're going to play your character, feel free to fill it out. This is an NPC, their alignment's kind of irrelevant, they're not going to be around long enough for it to matter. And if they are, they haven't grown enough to know what their alignment is, so we're going to go ahead and leave that blank. And then the rest of this is your character backstory, allies and organizations, treasures, additional features and traits. This is all stuff that you're going to fill out. We got the age, the height, the weight, eyes, skin, hair. This is all descriptory stuff for your character. So I probably won't fill this out because it's just an NPC. But all this is you describing your character, where they came from, what they've done in their past, what they look like, who they're friends with. All of this is really important for you because your DM, if they're good, they'll use it to incorporate your character in the story more. So make sure you fill this out to the best of your ability, and if you're having trouble, read a book. Honestly, a lot of my backstories, I get ideas for my character backstories from while reading books or watching anime, stuff like that. It really gets my mind going, and I'm sure it would help you as well. So this is important. I know it may not always seem like it, but it is important. So, but there we go. We have rolled a level 1 bard, and it didn't even take us that long. I thought this was going to take a lot longer. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you want me to do more character creation with you, let me know what class, what race. We'll roll more characters for you. But that's the basics of filling out a character sheet.